This video works on the next level of factorising, sometimes with binomials which have two terms. Same things apply. You're looking for the highest common factors to factorise them, and you might be able to, referring to FOIL, will assist you in checking your answers. So that, remember, FOIL is to do with expanding the quadratics, which were when there was A plus B, C plus D. So that's why it's called a binomial sometimes, because there are two terms. In looking at this equation that we are going to factorise, you'll hopefully notice that you can see that the term in the brackets is the exact same. So therefore, we can actually write this a whole lot more simply. So we can shorten this expression by only writing one of the x plus y's. This is because this equation expanded is 5 times x, then 5 times y, and then 4d times x and 4d times y. Essentially, you can actually simplify it or factorize it in a much more simple way by writing it like a quadratic expression, or a binomial, as you can see, because there are two different ones. All you have to do is, with the other bracket, quite simply put in the other two values. So if you were to expand either of these, you would find that they have the exact same value. So x times 5, x times 4d, so that accounts for 5 times x and 4d times x, and then the other side, y times 5, get rid of that one, and then y times 4d. So quite simply, this here is the way to factorise an expression that looks like this one. Therefore, let's apply the same theory to this equation. You can see that the equation in the brackets is the same. So 2b take away 1. Therefore, the other two that we'd be multiplying by are 7 take 5m. So you can see that this can actually be pretty straightforward. That there is the answer. And you can check if you like. So 7 times 2b, 2b times 7, 7 times negative 1, 7 times negative 1. Negative 5m by 2b, negative 5m by 2b, negative 5m times negative 1. Let's now show one more equation. When you see an equation that has 4 terms like this one, you'll need to look for pairs that have a highest common factor together. So if I look at the first 2 terms in this case, I can see that they both have a highest common factor of x. If I look at the second 2 terms, I can see that they both have a highest common factor of 8. You can both evenly divide them both by 8. Once you've found the highest common factors, then you need to factorise those 2 expressions. You'll see what happens once you've done it. So, just think about the first 2 terms to start with. Take out the highest common factor. So, divide by x is going to leave you with y. And take out the highest common factor of x here. X divided by x gives you 1, leaving you with 5. Let's do the same for the other side. So the highest common factor is positive 8. So divide 8y by 8 is going to leave you with y, and divide 40 by 8 is going to give you 5. You will hopefully now notice that you can see that there is a pairing of the same. So that's what we're looking for when we're factorising those expressions. Once we've done that, we can then put that into the first bracket, same as the earlier ones, and then we have x and positive 8 in the other side, so x plus 8. And that is our factorized answer. The same thing goes for this equation, but what you might notice here is if I look at the first two terms, they don't have any highest common factor other than 1, and the second two terms, same thing. So sometimes you might need to pair up terms that have a highest common factor. So in this case, you can see that 5m positive 15gm have a highest common factor, as does 6g and positive 2. So 6g and positive 2. Now looking at the first two here, you can see that the highest common factor between those two is 5m. You can divide both of them by 5m. So we're looking to factorize the expression again. Divide 5m by 5m. Something divided by itself is always 1. And in this case, 15gm divided by 5m. M's will cancel out. 15 divided by 5 is going to give you 3. So 1 plus 3g. On the other side, highest common factor between both of them is 2. You can divide both by 2. So in this case, sorry, that should be an addition symbol there. 2 of 6g divided by 2 is going to be equal to 3g. 2 divided by 2 is 1. You can see here that these two terms, and let me underline them, are the same. They're just one and another flipped around. So essentially it is the same thing. It doesn't matter which order you have it in the brackets, this distributive law still applies. So in the answer, our first bracket is going to be 3g plus 1, or you could have written it as 1 plus 3g, wouldn't have mattered, it's the same thing. And the other bracket is going to be the other two terms, so 5m plus 2. You can always, as mentioned at the very start of this video, you can check your answer by applying the FOIL method, and let's do it with this one. 3g times 5m gives us 15gm. 3g times 2 gives us 6g. 1 times 5m gives us 5m. And then 1 times 2 gives us 2. So you can see that our answer is spot on.